the Italian Football Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Italian Football Podcast, the official podcast of Football Italia. I'm Carlo Garganese, joined as always by Nima, Tavallaey. As it is Christmas coming up, unfortunately we're unable to bring you our usual review of the last Serie A weekend before Christmas. Apologies for that. Instead, we have a couple of set episodes or a couple of segments, as you'll be listening if you're listening to this on the main show, which will keep you entertained over the Christmas period. The first, both myself and Nima will choose our Serie A team of the season so far, as well as our kind of like best of the season in various categories. And then the second part will be myself and Nima will choose our worst Serie A team of the season so far, with the worst of the worst in the main categories as well that we'll discuss. So that's how we're going to do things, just to give you guys something to consume over your Christmas turkeys if you celebrate Christmas. And then after Christmas and after New Year, we will return to our usual programming. Okay, let's get straight into it then, and we will start off with Nima, the Serie A team of the season. So the way we're going to do this is we'll go through each department of the pitch. So we'll start off with the goalkeeper, then we'll start off with the defense, then we'll start off with the midfield, then we'll go to the midfield, and then we'll go to the attack. I will tell you guys who my picks are, and then Nima will come in and choose his for each department, because we're not going to have exactly the same team. So if we start off, Nima, with the goalkeeper, who has been the best goalkeeper of the Serie A season so far, and we're judging this, I should say, based on Serie A performance. So we're not including, Champions League performance or Coppa Italia. This is based purely on Serie A. So my goalkeeper is David De Gea of Fiorentina. We're recording this early on Sunday, and David De Gea was signed by Fiorentina on a free transfer. He was a free agent, hadn't played for a whole year. I don't think many thought that he still had it. And he certainly does. 6 clean sheets in 12 matches. At the time of recording, Fiorentina have conceded the fewest goals in the league this season. Best save percentage in the league. I think he's been fantastic, and the best goalkeeper in Serie A this season so far.
Yeah, and he's got an assist as well, which is pretty cool. He really has been the surprise, hasn't he? I mean, no one expected this. He hadn't played football for a year and a half. But I can't. So I do have him thereabouts. But for me, like if I look at the Vanja Milinkovic-Savic in terms of how many goals he's prevented, how many crazy saves he's made, he's been truly, him and Carnesecchi have done some unbelievable things. I mean, you need to also mention Di Gregorio and they've been really good. But for me, I think Vanja Milinkovic-Savic is so criminally underrated. So I have De Gea there as well. But I'm going to go with Vanja Milinkovic-Savic because I think he rarely gets the recognition that he deserves.
Yeah, absolutely. If we move to the defence now, and my laptop, which I have all my team on, has just decided to shut down, so I'm having to load it back up now. So my defence, right. So let me work out how should I go on about this. Right, I'll tell you. I'll tell you
formation.
My formation is 4-3-3. So I'll tell you my right back. My right back is Giovanni Di Lorenzo of Napoli. I think he just beats Dodò from Fiorentina. I think Dodò's been really good as well. But I think Di Lorenzo's had a comeback season. He was really, really bad last season. Terrible last season for Napoli. and he's I'm not going to say he's back to his best. He's a little bit older now. He's 31, but I think he's been very good. He started the season at right centre back in the back three for Conte. Then when Conte switched to a 4-3-3, he's gone to a right back, and Napoli have the second best defence in the league. But he's also been very good going forward as well. He's got 3 goals and an assist. He also scored, I think, a couple for Italy as well. So he's been very good this season as an attacking force. So he's my right back. Are you going for a back 4 or are you going for a back 3?
I haven't decided yet because I think I'm going to go with a 3-5-2. Yeah.
Okay, well in that case, just stay silent for the moment and come when I get to the centre back sections. You can tap then. My left back, I'm going to go for Nuno Tavares of Lazio. I thought Di Marco's been really good. Obviously, more of a wing back or plays a wing back in the formation that they play. But Nuno Tavares has been he has the most assists in Serie A, 8 assists. For a while, he had more assists than anyone in the whole of Europe until he got an injury in November and he missed a few games. He's been overtaken since. He's been like such an unstoppable force at left back, bombing up and down that flank, and he's been brilliant. Such a bargain as well. I think 6 million or something like that from Arsenal is the loan, is the obligation to sign him. Something like that. It's ridiculously low. So he's been superb. So he's my left back. Actually, you may as well do, if you're going to go for a back. If you're going to go for a back 3, you might as well tell me who your wing backs are then, and then we'll move on to the centre back.
I've got because I want to have both of them. This is 3 people I want to have. So I want to have Tavares in my team. So I'm moving him to the right, and I'm putting Di Marco on the left because I think Di Marco has been simply unbelievable this season. I don't think you can like remove him. And Tavares as well has been fantastic. So I'm moving Tavares to the right and I'm putting Di Marco on the left.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Di Marco definitely deserves to be in the team in some way, but it's just I could not leave out Tavares if I'm playing a back 4. I think he's been he has
So
been.
I just moved Tavares as a right wing back and I put Di Marco on the left where he's.
Oh, okay. You've shoehorned him in,
Yeah,
right?
I've
Okay.
shoehorned him in, literally shoehorned him in, crowbarred him in, put a stick of dynamite, blew up, and then shoved him in there.
Let's go to the centre backs then. So you've got 3 centre backs. I've got 2. I've gone for Alessandro Buongiorno from Napoli. Superb. I mean, Napoli's second best defence in Serie A, but I think he's been fantastic. He's made such a big difference to that Napoli defence. Just remember how bad that Napoli defence was last season after not replacing Koulibaly. He has finally replaced Koulibaly. Hasn't been perfect at times, but he's like overall has made such a difference. So you notice a difference when he's playing, when he's not playing. He didn't play in that first game of the season against Verona when they lost 3-0. As soon as he came in after that, they had so many clean sheets. And he's a great box defender, great in the air, leader, well organised as a defence, and he's formed a good partnership with Lookman, who's been much better this season. Next to a player like Buongiorno, he's improved as well. I think it's been twice he's been Player of the Month for Napoli. Might even be 3 times actually. So Buongiorno definitely. And then my other one, I've gone for Pierre Kalulu. I think he's been really excellent. Juventus were setting so many defensive records at the start of the season, which people forget about. And he was a big reason for that. And one thing that has been good about Juventus this season has been their defence. And he's been, I think, consistently really, really good. Started at right back, then at centre back after the injury to Bremer. And I think it's, already Milan are going to be regret if we've seen how bad Milan have been. We'll get to the worst team of the season. There's a couple of Milan defenders I have in there. I think Milan have definitely made a big mistake getting rid of Kalulu. So those are my 2.
I've got Buongiorno in the middle, Bastoni to the left, and I was Gatti or Mario Gila to the right.
Gila. It's good shout. Good shout, Gila.
I think he's been very, very good. But one of the 2, I really couldn't tell you. I think they've both been excellent. But yeah, I mean, Buongiorno and Bastoni pick themselves, really. I think they've been outstanding. I think Bastoni is unbelievably underrated this season. he has we know that he's going forward. He's world class, and he has been for many years. But the last 12 to 18 months, he has systematically and slowly but surely improved his defensive side of his game. And I think now he's very much in contention as one of the best defenders in the world, if not the best. I think he's definitely up there with your Salibas and whatever. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. And Gatti, I think, deserves to, because of the season he's had, playing for one of the best defenses in the league and in Europe. So many
Yeah.
sheets. So
Yeah, I think Juventus definitely deserve recognition for their defence. I think in this team, so I think it's right that we both have a Juventus player in, because there isn't any Juventus players elsewhere in the team. That's for sure.
I do want to give a shout out also to I just thought about my wing backs. Patrick Dorgu, I think from Lecce, who scored 3 goals. It's been it's been good.
Yeah, hasn't really played at wing back much. That's the only thing. But yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, but I just want to give a shout out, and I think Di Lorenzo deserves a shout out as well. I think this has been a good season for him so far, where he's kind of re-emerged from the dead, as I kind of expected he would under Conte. But I think those two I want to give a shout out to.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement there. Let's move on to the midfield then. So I guess we're both going to have a midfield 3, aren't we? Because you've gone 3-5-2 and I've gone 4-3-3. So this is easy to do. So my midfield 3, I've gone for. I had to have someone from Inter, so I've gone for Nicola Barella. Because sometimes you just kind of, you're just used to his brilliance, and then I thought about it hard, and I thought, well, he has to be in it, because he has been Inter's best midfielder, I think, this season, and also he scored 3 goals, 2 assists, so he's contributing, and 2 of the goals were ridiculous as well, like the Lazio goal and that one where it was more of a pass that was great, but it was a great finish. With the Mkhitaryan pass. So yeah, I think Barella for sure. Then I'm going for Tijani Reinders from Milan. I think that he's broken out, really exploded this season in a struggling Milan team as well. 4 goals, 2 assists, and I think he's definitely been Milan's best player. And yeah, so I've gone for Tijani Reinders, and then the other player, I was almost going to go for Scott McTominay, because I think he has had a really, really good impact, and he's been very important for Antonio Conte's system. But I just went for Nico Paz of Como, because he's playing for not a very good team, not a very strong team, and he's just been unbelievable. Every game you watch him, he's just incredible to watch. 2 goals, 3 assists. He's got an incredible left foot. He's got a huge future in the game. It's unfortunate for Como, because there's no way he's going to be there next season. I think Real Madrid will activate the clause to bring him back. They might sell him on. There's talk of Inter that are interested in signing him next season. Zanetti went to watch him in Como's game against Roma. Paz is a magical player. He's a magical player, and he's only 20 years old. So I've gone for Paz, but it could quite easily have been McTominay.
I think this is the most difficult category to pick players for. There's so many players who I think have been outstanding. McTominay, you mentioned, Ricci, Yassin Adli, the Reinders you've mentioned. This is the one I struggle the most with. But I think if I'm going to play a midfield 3, I have to pick Ederson, I have to pick Barella, and I have to pick Reinders. I think those 3 in those roles have been other level. Genuinely unbelievable. I think Ederson is just ridiculously good. Barella is world class. Again, one of the best, if not the best, midfielder in the world. And Tijani Reinders has been simply unplayable. I mean, it's just this is the most difficult one to pick.
Yeah, I think you could pick Ederson. I think he had quite a slow start to the season. He was actually quite poor when Atalanta had that start season, but then once he got going.
But there's so
Atalanta
many.
got
I think
going.
Guendouzi has been great. I think Rovella has been
Rovella, yeah, I was going to
phenomenal.
say.
I mean, this
Rovella.
is such a difficult category to pick from. This is really the most difficult one, because there's so many arguments you can make for so
Kone,
many.
even Kone has been fantastic. I think he's
Yeah,
been brilliant
yes,
for
he really
Roma.
has. And
Brilliant.
Yassin Adli, I think when he's played has been really good. I mean, there's so many,
Well,
so
even
many.
Bove before
Yeah,
and Cataldi. I mean, Fiorentina's midfielders have been really good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it's really difficult. This is really, really difficult.
And even
I mean,
Anguissa has
I was
come
just
really.
about to say
He's
Anguissa.
come strong in the last weeks as
Yeah,
well. I mean, the last 2 games, he's really come strong, hasn't he?
yeah.
So yeah.
I was just about to say him as well. And no, it's been difficult.
No,
This
it's
is
good. It's
really,
good to
really
see because it's good to see that there's a nice little conveyor belt of centre midfielders that
mm,
in the league, and if players leave, there's others to come in and take their place. So yeah,
mm,
yeah, yeah. I mean, that if you picked Ederson, that's the first Atalanta player in the squad, which is pretty mad after they've gone, as we're recording this, 10 games, 10 wins in a row. But that I'm definitely going to correct that when I pick my forward line now.
mm,
So front three for me, front two for Nima. So I have 2 Atalanta players in my front three. I have Ademola Lookman, who is just unbelievable. What a
mm,
player! I mean, this guy is. Honestly, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say I think he's playing at a world class level
mm,
now. He's every game, whether it's in Serie A, whether it's in the Champions League against big teams like Real Madrid. I mean, this guy is such a threat every time he gets the ball, and he's contributing 8 goals, 4 assists, and he's formed a brilliant partnership with Matteo Retegui, who I also have in my team. He's top scorer of Serie A, 12 goals. He's also got 3 assists. And he has actually gone for a little bit of a bad run from November into December, but the number of goals he scored before that in the first few months of the season are just an absolute machine. And he's made such a great impact since joining Atalanta. And then the third player in my front line is Marcus Thuram. I think he's really been the guy that's he certainly led the attack because Lautaro has been a little bit disappointing this season, and he's taken his goal numbers to a new level. 11 goals. He's second top scorer in Serie A. He's also got 3 assists, but his importance to the overall play for Inter as well, like how he carries the line and his overall strength and his pace, and he's turning into such a complete attacker. And yeah, I think these three definitely for me are the front three.
I've got Matteo Retegui and Marcus Thuram in my front two because I think those two are just. I think the what Retegui's done. It's not just the goals. I knew he was going to score lots, and that's why I had him as my capocannoniere before a ball was kicked. But the fact that he has shown a side to his game that no one had ever seen before, the winning. The fact that he can play with his back against the goal, the fact that he can press, the fact that he can link up, the fact that he can put others into play. His finishing we know is great. He's always been an aerial killer, like he's strong in the air. But I've been so impressed with the other sides of his game that he's developed under Gasperini, and for large parts of that he was now he's slowed down a little bit, which happens, but he really elevated his game for most of so far this season for 70-80% of where we are. And I think he's been the striker of the season so far. Marcus Thuram, his movement, his link up, his technique, his dribbling, his ability to be his man. And of course his finishing. He was very wasteful last season. This season he's not, and he's continues to grow down that step. And he talks about how Adriano is his role model and all that. He's really taken steps too. I think those two are just. They in terms of strikers, central strikers, those two are just they pick themselves. It's not even a competition. Since I don't have any wingers, I think Lookman. I mean, there's so many you want to mention. Ademola Lookman for one has been unbelievable. Charles de Ketteler is another one who I think has been outstanding.
Yeah.
Tati Castellanos has surprised me. Moise Ken's
Moise Ken definitely
reimagined.
deserves a shout out. He's got
Moise Ken's
nine in Serie A,
yeah,
none of them penalties. If he could
yeah,
take penalties, he'd have more.
yeah.
Um, you know,
And if they didn't take them away from him,
well, he's missed a couple as well, I think.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. But no, Pulisic I would have as well.
Pulisic started the season really well, first
Yeah,
couple of months, but he's he's drifted off the last couple of months
I
also
want to
because
give
of
a little. I
because of
want to give
injury.
a shout out to Lorenzo Luca as well, who I think is continuing to grow. Santiago Castro from Bologna, Morata, who I think in open play is very, very important for Milan. No, there's so many. There's quite a
Yeah,
few,
I agree with
and
all of
Kenan
those.
Yildiz as well, who's been a joy at times in bursts to
Yeah,
watch.
I agree with all of those except for Morata and Yildiz. I mean, they've not done enough for me in terms of overall consistency. But I agree with them. I agree with you on the others. If we go just through a few categories now before we finish off on the kind of like the best of the season so far, let's start off with player of the season so far. Who has been the best player in the first half of the Serie A season? I'm going for Ademola Lookman. I'm going for Lookman. If I'm thinking of an individual that has an impact on his team, but also has that kind of what you look for in terms of star quality, I have to go for Lookman. I think he's been absolutely brilliant.
This is difficult. I don't know. It's I'm balancing so many from my team as to who to pick and who not to pick. But for me, I think I have to go with. I'm going to go with the player who has surprised me the most, who I didn't expect or didn't think had this in him. And that is Retegi. I think he has like the development that he has shown. I did not think he had it in him. I did not think that he could be the complete striker that he has shown that he is. So for me, so far, it has to be him simply because of the fact that I think he is the one that has improved the most. Lookman, we know what he is. We he's played at a very high level. But I think Retegi, in terms of improvement, I don't think anyone has improved individually as much as Matteo Retegi has done so far this season. And so that's why I'm going to go with him.
Okay, let's go for coach of the season so far. I mean, I think there's a lot of
Mm.
potential candidates here for coach of the season. For me, I think it's out of three. I mean, Simone Inzaghi, I guess we take for granted now. Maybe that's a little bit unfair on him, but I think it's out of Gasperini at Atalanta,
Mm.
Marco Baroni at Lazio, and Palladino at Fiorentina. And maybe
Yeah,
that's unfair on Conte as well. Again, we probably take Conte for granted. We take Inzaghi and Conte for granted. But if I had to pick, I'd pick out one of those three, and I think I'm going to go for Gasperini. Having to
you,
reinvent the team again after what was a really horrible summer, losing Coop Miners, losing two key your best defender and your best striker to ACLs, and to still be able to do what he's done, what Atalanta's done. I think that's an incredible job after a transfer market that most people weren't really that impressed by either.
I was, if you remember, I said I thought they landed on their feet
You
really
did. You're
well.
one of the very few.
So I think I actually think that they are.
But how many of their new signings have really done well, really great, other than Retegui? I mean, none of them are really.
I think Samardzic has been good.
Yeah,
I
but none
think
of them are first team players. Do you know what I mean?
well
Only,
they
only, only
rotate. They
Retegui.
play so many games, and Retegi's been rotated as well, so they have to
Yeah,
rotate.
that's
But
what I mean.
no,
That's why I think it's on Gasper. What Gasperini's done, I think, is
yeah, no,
amazing.
I think Gasperini, Baroni, Palladino is fair, but I do have to throw in Conte there because I. The way they people say that they don't play well and they don't create enough and it's not sustainable, and they're absolutely right. They haven't been playing really well, and it's not sustainable to keep thinking you can do this for 38 games. But what I feel a lot of people are missing is that when you play badly and win, that's a sign of strength. That's a sign of mental growth. That's a sign of that you are more than the sum of your parts. And Conte teams generally, from February onwards, that's when they hit their form. So I think it's unfair to say that Napoli are not going to be, that they're going to fall away. I don't think there's, I think we have to wait and see before saying anything. But the fact that they are in a title race with a team that qualitatively, individually, player by player, shouldn't be, is truly a fantastic feat by Antonio Conte. And it's typical Conte. This is what he does. But I have to, you can't. What Baroni, Palladino, Gasperini have done with, you also have to take into consideration how much they net spent Napoli in the summer, and they net spent quite a bit. Gasperini, Baroni, and Palladino, not so much. So and also if you look at what they've done as well. No, I have to go with Gasperini because they shouldn't be. They losing Coop Miners was a disaster for them. They had to rehabilitate Lookman after PSG unsettled him, and these are not easy things to do. And he managed to do that, and now Lookman's firing on all cylinders better than he's ever been.
Yeah, no,
You have
agreed. I want to give a
that's
shout
improved.
out.
You have a Retegui that's improved as much as he has. You have a Samardžić that's come in and slowly taking steps. You have an Edison who's unbelievable. You have Bellanova's looking all right. They've brought in Ruggeri. I mean, it's just Carnesecchi. It just continues. So I have to go with Gasperini.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to give a shout out also to Italiano at Bologna for their Serie A performance, not for their Champions League. Although I don't think anyone could have expected them to go through, but they probably should have performed, should have got more points anyway. But I think he's done a great job for Bologna. I mean, they're level as we're recording. They're level with Juventus, and they've only lost 2 games all season.
Yeah.
Bologna, and they're actually they're in good form. Like they're built. You can see they're improving. They're building now, so I think he's done a great job for a team that has lost, they lost all their best players and over half their team, and and again, not too many people were that impressed by their transfer market either. Many of whom are not even playing. So I think he's done a great job. I think Tavares has done a really good job, although they're starting to slow down a bit now at Empoli. And Kostarunjajic, I think, has done a very good job as well at Udinese.
I agree
as well.
I think he deserves a shout out, Kostarunjajic. I think Roberto D'Aversa at Empoli definitely deserves a shout out. I think Gianpaolo, since taking over at Lecce, deserves a shout out. So yeah, look, it's there's quite a few.
Even Patrick Vieira's done well so far, but we're still in the new manager bounce stage with Gianpaolo and Vieira, so I don't want to. I don't want to conclude anything with them. But a lot of impressive coaching performance in Serie A, as there always is, because it is the best league in the world, best league in the world for coaching. Right, let's move on then to the worst of Serie A.
Well, we need to do best youngster and best transfer.
Oh yes, we do. Yes, we do. So best youngster, under 21, Nico Paz.
Can't be anyone. Like for me, I think there's a few, but he's played well beyond his years, so to speak.
Yeah. Is Conceição still 21, or was he 22 now?
I don't know. I can't remember. I think he's been around for.
Well, he's been around, but he's still young. He's 20. He's 22. Okay, so he doesn't count. Nico Paz for sure. He's been brilliant. Comuzzo though has been also very, very good.
Comuzzo's been very good.
He pushes him quite close as well for Fiorentina. I think he's done really, really well, and he looks like
Comuzzo's been really good.
He's
only 19, and he's a mean bastard. I like that. It's a young defender that is a mean bastard. I like that. I'm tired of these flary people. You need to have a mean SOB.
Fairies, did you say?
No, these kind, flary, positive attacking defenders. I want to have a mean SOB in there that stops
these
defense.
Dean Huijsens that come out like
Montero, a prick.
No, I mean, but Dean Huijsen is like the new breed, isn't it? Like comes out all fannying about, and
No, but he's exactly he's a mean player. Like he's a player that strikers don't like to play because he gets under the skin. He's physical, and I like his read of the game. I like his marking. The old school Italian central defender that knows where the line, it bends the line, the law, doesn't break it. And I think Comuzzo reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
best transfer.
Last one is best transfer so far. So there's been quite a few to choose from, as always. But I can't look past Retegui really. But Retegui or Tavares, I think it has to be one of those.
As always, I agree with you on that. But it's like, how much did they pay? How much did he cost? Do you know what I mean? If you take these factors into
how much were they needed?
How much were they needed?
Yeah.
You can't look past Tavares at that point because it's a very ridiculously low deal, like cheap. If you
The only thing is that I think Arsenal have a massive sell-on clause, like it's about 40% or something like that. Which obviously, when they sell him, they're not going to. But even regardless of that, 6 million. If you get like one season
nothing.
out of him for 6 million and then sell him on for 30 and sell him, take like 20 million of that or something, that's still great business, isn't it? So I think they've done great.
Yeah, no, so Retegui or Tavares for sure. But I think if you look at the financial aspect, then it has to be Tavares.
Yeah, fantastic.